Hello, hello. It is Tuesday at noon. This is our weekly office hours for Kara Chase, which is me, who is me, and work better, live well. Today, we are going to be talking about a really specific topic that affects a lot of people right now, and it is staying productive while working from home. You might be someone who has worked from home for years. You might be someone who started working from home last year during the pandemic. Maybe you're in some sort of hybrid situation right now. Regardless of your situation, learning how to work from home is an art and a skill all unto itself. So I have worked from home since 2015, and there are many, many things that I've learned over the years that I want to share with you in an effort to help you work better so you can live well. Before I dive in today, I want to tell you that our live office hours are brought to you by the Sunday Inspo email. This is a free newsletter that you get in your inbox every single Sunday, and it's 3 tips to work better, 3 tips to live well, short, simple, to the point, and the whole purpose is to go into your week feeling inspired and excited to work from home. So without further ado, we are going to jump right in. Tip number 1 for 9 ways to stay productive when you're working from home is to have a wind down routine the night before. So the quickest way to kill your productivity is to get a crappy night's sleep, to have a whole bunch of electronics in your room, to wake up or go to sleep with your phone right in front of your face and all that blue light and stimulation. It's just not good. So starting with a productive day starts with the night before. Have a wind down routine. Have this be the time that you read like an actual book before you go to bed. Do not have your phone in your bedroom. This is the number one change that I made in the last couple of years that totally has affected not only the quality of my sleep, but my mood, my attitude, how I feel starting the day, ending the day. My bedroom really has become this quiet wind down sanctuary where I get to rest both my body and my mind. So, number 1 tip, take your phone out of your bedroom. Have a wind down routine where maybe you say every night I want to be in bed by 9 o'clock and I'm reading a book until 9:30, whatever it is. Have a way to really detach and get a good night's sleep. That is the best way to set yourself up for a productive day. Number 2 tip is before you start work, before you turn on your computer, before you start clicking around and shuffling things around on your desk, make sure you set your intentions for the day. Make sure you kind of take a minute to ground yourself. This is the same concept as winding down the night before. You really just want to take a beat and take a breath. What I do personally is I do 10 to 15 minutes of meditation in the morning. Sometimes that's complete silence where I'm just tuning in to the noises I can hear. Sometimes I will listen to some sort of binaural beats or meditation tracks. Sometimes it's a guided meditation. I don't have anything super specific. I just go by what feels right for me in that morning. Now, here's a pro tip for you if you have little kids and you are not in the space of having a morning routine or having a bunch of time to yourself. I don't actually start this setting my intentions and meditating in the morning until the kids are where they need to go. So in between dropping the kids off and coming back to a quiet house and before I start my day is where I have this setting my intentions for the day. So maybe my day is focused on client work. Maybe it's focused on doing something like this where I'm teaching and providing content. And I just want to make sure that I am showing up in the best way possible. So I take that time to meditate, ground myself, and just kind of take a beat before I dive right in. So speaking of diving right in, the next tip, number 3, is know your top 3 priorities for the day. This is super helpful when you feel like you're grinding through your to-do list, the important stuff doesn't really happen or get done. Or maybe things keep getting put off and put off because you're not doing the important things. You're overloading yourself with the not important things. Really helpful to have a touchstone of what are the things that I absolutely need to get done today that have to get done no matter what. Checking your email typically doesn't have to get done no matter what. Okay. Maybe delivering a fantastic client report needs to get done. Maybe it is write that new blog and publish it. Maybe that's what needs to get done. Whatever it is, know what those top 3 things are for the day before you actually kind of start your day, so you know where you're going to focus. I always recommend 2 things with this habit. Number 1, if you have a compressed day and you are a busy work from home parent like I am, I don't work from 8 to 5. I typically work half days every day because of the priorities of the rest of our life. So I don't actually have time to get 3 work priorities done. What I do is I set 2 work priorities and 1 personal priority. So for example, today I have a whole bunch of calls and trainings that I needed to do. So that was priority number 1, was deliver those, have a fantastic time and enjoy it. Number 2 was come up with a process for repurposing this content and how I'm going to do that with my team. And then number 3 was personal. It was actually make a smoothie for lunch. I want to be a little better about not just kind of opening the fridge for lunch and grabbing snacky stuff and all of that. So that was actually my third of my top 3 priorities. So if you feel like you have a time crunched, really compressed day because of your schedule and your other priorities in your life, try that tip. 2 work, 1 personal priority. The other tip that I have for this habit is to not do anything else before you get at least one of these done. Hopefully it's one of the work priorities. So don't do anything else that is not on that top 3 list before you get at least one of them done. Tip number 4 in how to stay productive when working from home is when you start up your computer and you have grounded yourself, you have set your intentions for the day, you know what your priorities are, check your calendar and your project management system to start your day, not your email. Too many of us, and I've been guilty of this in the past, work out of our email inboxes, and that is what sets the tone for our day. That is our to-do list for the day. What you're doing is reacting to what everybody else needs from you instead of being proactive with your business and what you need to do to build your business. So email is never the place to start your day. There's a lot of tips and tricks you can do, from pausing your inbox to just not even opening it. All of that. I mean, there's tons of tips out there. I'm sure we'll do a live video, live office hours, all about email management in the future. But once you have your top 3 priorities down, you need to know what else is going on with your day. Do you have meetings? Anything going on with your personal life, appointments, whatever it is? Check your project management system, whatever you use. Whether that is a spreadsheet, whether it's Asana or Trello or ClickUp, however you keep track of and manage your projects, that project management system isn't going to work for you if you don't use it, you don't come back to it, you don't check in with it. So you have to use it for it to be effective. So that is the first thing I do when I turn on my computer in the morning after I have filled out my priorities, is what is actually on the schedule for today and what are the project management tasks that I need to do to keep my business moving forward. Email does not enter into the picture. Sometimes not even until the end of the day, but certainly not the first couple hours of the day. All right, tip number 5, group your like tasks together. So it is super easy when you're working from home and you've got a million things on your plate to have 50 tabs open literally on your computer oftentimes in your head as well. When you group your like tasks together, you have less context switching. Context switching is when you stop doing something and you go do something else, and you lose a tremendous amount of brain power, energy, and time in trying to onboard with whatever this next task is that you're doing that doesn't have anything to do with what you were just doing 30 seconds ago. So, one of the things that we teach in theme day planning method is exactly this. How do we group our days into themes so we know exactly which tasks can go into which days and not have to grind through the to-do list or lose a ton of productivity and time and energy to context switching? So, let's recap. You have grounded, meditated, whatever that version, take a few deep breaths, stretch, whatever it is, whatever that is for you, you've done that. You have set your top 3 priorities for the day. You have checked your calendar for existing appointments or meetings, as well as your project management. Now you want to group things together that you're going to be able to get done in a good block of time that is going to minimize that context switching. So in a typical day, this takes us usually through the first couple hours of the morning. Everybody is different. For me personally, the first couple hours of my day are when I'm the most productive, the most creative. I have the most energy for work. I am excited to get to work every morning. I am thrilled with the possibilities of the day and the productivity that I know I'm going to have and what I'm going to create in those first couple hours really just have a lot of juice for me. Might be different for you, might not be. But typically, once you get to this point where you've done a group of like tasks under your theme days, if you're enrolled in theme day planning method, this is going to take you to the point where you start kind of losing that thread. So when you are starting to feel tired, when you are starting to feel like nothing's working, when you're starting to feel like you're losing the thread of productivity, I'm here to tell you, I could almost bet money that it's because you need to hydrate and you need to eat something healthy. So when I started my business almost 7 years ago, there was this thing that would happen almost every single day. Around 2 p.m., I would get into this kind of like Chicken Little doomsday, like my business isn't working. I'm just going to go get a job. Like the sky is falling, all of it. And it was really, it felt like whiplash. Like I would start the morning really excited and energetic, and ready for the possibilities of what I was creating. And then by the afternoon, I was like, I want to call it a day and crawl under the covers. Well, what was happening was because my day was so compressed and I knew I had to pick up kids, between 2:30, 3 o'clock, I would work straight through lunch. I wouldn't make sure I was drinking water. And what was happening was because my body wasn't getting what it needed, my brain, my lizard brain was going into fight or flight mode. It was going into that primal, like, I'm going to die because I haven't had water or anything healthy to eat. So, one of the things that I do is I have this fantastic water bottle that I use that has a straw because I can drink from a straw so much quicker. It's 24 ounces. I know that I want to get through 4 of those a day. That is just shy of 100 ounces of water. And I know for me, that's how much water I need to be fully hydrated. So, anytime I run out of that, I am filling it back up. When our previous home, when my office was not close to the kitchen, I actually had a water cooler in my home office to make that easy for me. That's how much of a difference that made in my mindset and my productivity. The other thing, and I already mentioned this, right? My third priority for today was making sure I made a smoothie for lunch because I want to make an effort to have a healthier lunch instead of a snacky lunch. When you wait until you're hungry and exhausted and you're in the click hole and all of that, you're not going to make good food choices. You're going to want chips and crackers or something fatty and salty and all of that. That's not necessarily going to fuel your body or your brain the best. So even if it's just as simple as I'm just going to make a smoothie for lunch today, you don't have to meal plan and have 7 mason jars all ready to go in your refrigerator to make this happen. Just one day at a time, one meal at a time. Huge difference, let me tell you. My number 7 tip for working from home and staying productive is use your do not disturb settings. Use them on your phone. Use them on your desktop or laptop computer, and use them in your email. My daughter was born in 2013. I turned my ringer off and have never turned it back on. That was like the first step I made in that direction. Now I have do not disturb set on my phone. I think it's from 7 or 8 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning. Obviously, I stay up later and I get up earlier than those hours, but those are not times that I want to be checking notifications or emails or jumping on social media or anything like that. So I have my do not disturb settings like it's pretty clear cut on my phone when that is set and not. I will occasionally use that on my desktop as well. If I'm going into some sort of focus block where I'm like, I am working hard on this project that I'm excited about for 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever the time I've set aside is, I will turn on the do not disturb settings on my computer. So I'm not getting notifications from Slack or anything else like that. And then I mentioned before email. If you use Gmail, it has this really great feature called pause inbox, and you can tell it when to come back on so that you're not getting the pings or you're not seeing the unread messages or whatever it is. It just doesn't show anything new coming into your inbox. I know for me, as I know it is for a lot of people, that can be a very tempting distraction. The reason email is such a tempting distraction is it makes us feel like we're getting something done. But typically, those are not things that build our businesses. So, customer service stuff, yes, it needs to be taken care of in a timely manner, maybe not right when the email comes in. Another example of an email that might be business building is scheduling, booking a call for being on a podcast or a summit or something like that. But that doesn't usually make up the bulk of our email. Usually it's, hey, change this link for your affiliate link for this program, or so-and-so's launching some new course or whatever it is. So we get into this mistake of feeling like we are getting things done when we're in our email inbox, and the opposite is true. You are actually wasting time instead of doing things like your top 3 priorities for the day. So use that pause inbox feature on Gmail if you use Gmail, along with your phone and your desktop do not disturb settings. Goes a long way. All right, number 8. I've talked about the click hole a couple times here in this live office hours session. It's when you have all these tabs open and you kind of get into this aimless clicking around feeling. Very similar to if you're on Instagram on your phone and you're just kind of scrolling with no purpose, no intention. Same thing happens online when we are working online from home. So it's pretty clear to me, because I am aware of all of these things, when I get into a click hole. It's also usually coupled with not being hydrated or not having something good to eat. So when I find that I'm in a click hole, you're going to reach a point of diminishing returns. Trying to keep forcing yourself to work is not going to be productive for you. So this is a really good time to pause, take a breath, stretch, go for a walk outside if the weather's good and that's something you can do. One of my favorite things to do is to take a 15-minute reset nap. I have a couple of YouTube like background nap things that I have saved in my phone. And I will lay down for a 15-minute nap and I don't even call it a nap, really. I call it a 15-minute reset, just to it's like unplugging and plugging back in. So you will not be more productive. You will be less productive if you try and muscle through the click hole and that kind of aimless feeling. You're much better off taking a break, pausing, going for a walk, whatever you need to do to just kind of wake yourself up and get the blood flowing again. And then my final tip for staying productive while working from home is to actually complete your day. There are many, many times where I have left my home office thinking that I would get back to work after I picked the kids up or after I did this or that or whatever. The reality is that doesn't often happen. But what does happen is my desk is left with all of my work from the day. It's discombobulated. I haven't actually completed my day. And the act of completing your day is super important to touch base with what you need to do for the next day, to be able to leave, even though you're working from home, to be able to leave work in that space, wherever that is, even if it's your kitchen table. So prep for the next day. This helps me not have those open loops in my brain. When I sit down at the end of the day with my planner and I look at what's going on for the next day and I take the time to prep what I need for the next day, then it's out of my head and I'm not spending all evening thinking about how I need to prep for the next day and what I need. And then clearing off your desk, putting things away, putting the pens away, any books or notes or whatever you've had out, just that feeling of completion for the day is going to set you up to come back to number one, which is having that wind down routine the night before. It's a full and complete cycle where you are going to minimize not only distractions, but what I call the open loops, where you've kind of held everything in your head instead of getting it down in a plan or completing it or getting situated so you can know that it's done and move on with what you ever need to move on with. So I hope this was really helpful for you. I hope that if you are new to working from home, that these 9 tips will help you get to a more productive day in a much quicker way than it did for me. And let me tell you, I learned everything the hard way. If you like this, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, all those things that people ask you to do with their YouTube channels. I love teaching. I love creating content for you. So let me know if there are other things that you do to stay productive while working from home. And again, this office hours is brought to you by the Sunday Inspo email. If you want a quick 3 tips to work better, 3 tips to live well, this is where you get that, carry that inspiration into the week. I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I will see you next time.